I'm going to ask my question one more time.
Yes.
What deal did he get with China?
What specifically are you asking me?
I'm
What
asking
deal
you,
did he
what
get?
deal did... This person just came up to the mic and said Trump took office and is going to hold China accountable.
But what did
All
he do?
Trump has done is pussyfooted and delayed 90 times, and you're sitting here stuttering
But
because you can't...
I don't get...
Okay, then answer the deal. What deal has he cut with China?
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've stumbled across this video at a Nashville bar where Adam Mockler is going head-to-head with Michael Knowles and Cecilia Ray in front of a packed conservative crowd. And let me tell you, this gets heated. They're debating tariffs and trade policy, and Adam asks one simple question that completely exposes the entire conservative argument. Nobody, and I mean nobody in that room can answer it, and watching Michael stumble through his response is absolutely wild. So make sure you watch until the end, and please comment down below where you're watching from. I really love to see people from all over the world connecting in here. Alright, now let's get into the video.
Do you know what country has the highest tariffs right now?
Is it like Mauritius or something
It's
crazy?
Brazil,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not even to rebalance trade because of Bolsonaro was being targeted. So what I'm making my point here is that Trump's tariffs have not been to intentionally or targeted help the economy. What they have been doing is a lever for him to, help Bolsonaro, to use corruption, a lever that has not helped the American people. Tariffs are inherently inflationary, which you'll agree. Tariffs are inflationary.
Not necessarily.
Well,
Not
I mean-
necessarily. They can be,
Who
but they're not
pays for
necessarily.
it, right? It goes down to the consumer.
They largely are inflationary because at Customs and Border Patrol, that is when it's collected by American companies. So I just want to wrap this up. I think that Trump's tariff policy has been an unmitigated disaster. It has been awful. And
I agree with your points that that's confusing. I think that was intentional. I agree with your points that some of the measures for implementing them seem arbitrary. I also think that was intentional and effective. But I guess my question is, let's get specific here. You say they've been a disaster. By what economic measures have they been
there's
disasters?
a few. PPI just came out and showed that vegetables are up by 38% over the past month.
Why do you think PPI went up?
Why do you think PPI went up? There's
Yeah.
a few reasons. It could be
So
tariffs.
PPI is
it could be weather. PPI is the producer price index, which is how producers are counting what things cost and what they're selling to people. But overall,
Why did it go up?
vegetables went up 38%, a combination of weather and tariffs.
Weather and tariffs, is there maybe a third possibility
What's your
that's
third
correlated
possibility?
with PPI going up? The fact that we just hit the highest stock market ever recorded in the month of August, which is correlated with higher PPI.
You want to know why we hit the highest stock market?
I don't even care why we did. I'm
Listen.
just pointing out that's why PPI went up.
No. You can claim the highest stock market is impressive, but you know what's impressive to me? Trump took office and crashed the stock market on Liberation Day, and it didn't recover until he reversed the tariffs. So the only reason the market
He
is
didn't
up...
reverse the tariffs. You just said the tariffs are being implemented right now.
He put a 90...
In a capricious and
He
in
put a
large way that's
90-day
damaging the
pause...
country.
Let me finish. He put a 90-day pause, which confused people to such an extent that nobody believes him. The stock market is hitting all-time highs at 7 months into his presidency, which is not impressive. It was
As
hitting
the
all-time
tariffs are being
highs.
implemented, as you just admitted.
Because nobody believes him anymore. Not a single person believes that Donald Trump is imposing tariffs, that they will start. You didn't even know when they started. The guy who was saying, I
just
know
told
research.
you when they started. I told you they were being
You didn't
implemented
mention-
successively, and they began in April. I gave you the precise answer. As
Did you say August 7th?
No, but
You did not say
they
August
began
7th.
to be implemented within
So you
weeks
agree
of
with
the
my
Liberation Day
fundamental
announcement in April.
You agree with my fundamental axiom that tariffs have been confusing? Have they
Intentionally.
yielded any results?
Yes.
What?
Okay, well, here are the results. Because there are three things that tariffs can do. Tariffs can raise revenue, tariffs can get you better trade deals, and tariffs can boost manufacturing.
All of those things are contradictory.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this
What are you
is what's so
talking about?
amazing. Because you make such a great point, Adam. If you get the better trade deals, usually you don't get the revenue, you don't get the manufacturing. If you get the manufacturing, usually you don't get the trade. You don't get the revenue because it's not coming in. Right. Now, what's so strange about Trump's tariffs is that we have raised a lot of revenue, $100 billion since April.
Wait, why is the deficit still increasing at a massive rate? What the hell?
The budget deficit?
Yeah.
Well, because we're only, as you point out,
wait.
like 2 months into the tariffs.
No,
But-
Trump
but-
claims that he's raised $3 trillion or something,
Don't distract.
right?
Don't distract.
Okay, go for it.
$100 billion in tariffs. That is more than twice. That's 2.5 times the historic average. So we are raising revenue at a huge clip. Then manufacturing activity is at a 3-year high.
No, it's
Signals-
not. No, it is not.
It is at a 3-year high.
By this point in Biden's
Yes.
presidency, we had added 200,000 manufacturing jobs. We've lost 28,000 since Trump took office.
Manufacturing activity, today, August 2025,
Nope.
is that it is. I mean, I don't know. Look it up in the.
Look it up. Manufacturing is dropped under Trump.
It's at a 3-year high. So that means that it's signaling you're getting further growth. But the craziest thing is the trade deals have been insane. We just closed a deal with the European Union. We tariff their goods. They basically don't tariff our goods, and they're investing $600 billion in the country. So Trump managed to get all three objectives of tariffs simultaneously, and the economy is at an all-time high, and employment is full. There is no economic indicator that has gone down under Trump. It's all at highs.
But I noticed that all the time the market is brought up when in reality the average American, sometimes the stock market isn't what affects them. Like, not everyone's playing into the market. The average American...
Can I ask you a question, Michael?
I mean, the average American is not...
Most Americans have retirement accounts and pensions and that sort of thing.
But
so in that way, they
I want to be fair and reply to your EU point in just one second, but I want to ask you the question. When you cite this $100 billion raised, who is that raised from exactly?
It's raised from the countries that were tariffing.
That is not true. So when you're saying goods are coming over the border, Customs and Border Protections is taxing the other country.
Yes.
That is not how it works.
It is only I'm a
released when
cigar
US
manufacturer
countries
who makes my product in Nicaragua. I know a lot about tariffs and how they work. And unfortunately for my industry, there's an 18% tariff in Nicaragua. But it's okay. I mean, listen, I'm willing to eat it because we have a very successful
Wait a
product
minute.
called
You just said
Mayflower.
Nicaragua was eating the cost, or you implied that other countries were eating the cost when it hit CPB.
Oh,
but you're eating the cost.
No, are you asking me if a manufacturer in another country has to bear that cost? Yes, of course.
Yeah,
but I'm saying it's a manufacturer in the other country.
No,
which in the case of premium cigars is outside the United States.
But you're eating the cost.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
but not everyone's going to eat that cost. A
Not
lot
everyone-
of
they'll
it
pass
is
it on
going to
to
go down
consumers.
to the consumer.
I know. That's why you got to go to good companies like Mayflower.
No,
okay,
the
folks,
entire
this
point-
is the last chance. This is your last chance to win a free drink and a cigar. So you need to get to that microphone. We have someone up already.
This is where the entire conservative economic argument starts collapsing. Because when Adam said this, Trump's tariff policy has been an unmitigated disaster. He wasn't being dramatic. He was being accurate. And what happens next proves exactly why. Look at the data he brings up. Adam mentions this. PPI just came out and showed that vegetables are up by 38% over the past month. That's the Producer Price Index, which measures what producers are paying for goods before they even reach consumers. When that number spikes by 38%, that cost doesn't just disappear. It gets passed directly to American families at the grocery store. And conservatives want you to believe this is somehow winning? But here's where it gets even better. Adam points out something that completely destroys the stock market defense. He said this: the administration took office and crashed the stock market on Liberation Day, and it didn't recover until he reversed the tariffs. Think about what that means. The market didn't celebrate these tariffs. It panicked. And it only recovered when there was a 90-day delay, which is just a fancy way of saying he backed down. Now watch what happens when they start talking about who actually pays these tariffs. Michael tries to claim this. It's raised from the countries that were tariffing, and Adam immediately shuts that down. That is not how it works. Because it isn't. Tariffs are collected at Customs and Border Protection from American companies importing goods, not from foreign countries. But the moment that absolutely seals this is when Michael accidentally exposes his own hypocrisy. He talks about his cigar business and admits he has an 18% tariff on products from Nicaragua. And then Adam asks the perfect question, and Michael has to admit, but you're eating the cost. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, you cannot make this up. The man defending tariffs just admitted he is the one paying them, not Nicaragua. American business owners are absorbing these costs or passing them to consumers. That's basic economics. And when your own example proves the opposite of your argument, you've lost.
I would say the economic impact of the tariffs was priced in, I would say, even before Liberation Day.
Yeah.
Americans know what they're getting into as far as this. This is what they voted for.
Not all
and
of
that's
us.
also why, as Michael stated, we are at all-time highs for S&P. And inflation is back to 2 to 3%, if I'm not mistaken, and people have more money back to their paychecks. The other thing is the tariffs had nothing to do with the amount of revenue that we were bringing in. It was more about the accountability for other countries.
That's a nice distinction.
Wait,
That-
can I
that
ask
is
you
So
a
you
question?
voted to have prices raised? I'm confused. Oh, we knew what we were getting into. So you voted to have prices raised on you.
we voted for a president that wasn't going to fall asleep at the table with other.
Oh, he's asleep.
Yeah, he's just
leaders.
taking $400 million jets, doubling his net worth based off of crypto, and deporting people. process whatsoever.
Yeah, and I would give you that. I 100%
But do
agree
you-
with that.
Can I ask you a question
Yeah,
very,
go for
very
it.
quickly? You can claim that Donald Trump, it seems like you were trying to make the argument that he was rebalancing some of these deficits by holding countries accountable.
I would say it's not about accounting for deficits. It's about accountability and how we look on the main stage. It
Yes,
has nothing
because
to do
the
with
trade
revenue.
deficit
It has
thing.
nothing to do with
In
revenue.
my humble opinion, the reason that he picked that is because it's so crazy.
But you realize we look batshit insane when
Yeah.
we're tariffing Switzerland, who we had free trade with. We had free trade with Switzerland, and we're tariffing them. We're tariffing Brazil. We're tariffing islands with nobody that lives there, but not Russia. So the point is, every time someone
we
makes
have
the
major
argument,
sanctions on Russia. You know, it's
But
not. That's,
we can at
we don't
least-
have much trade at all with Russia.
we can at least play tariffs.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to make is Donald Trump claims that he is intentionally and targeted, or people claim that he is trying to hold countries accountable in a targeted way. That's not what's happening. It is broad, sweeping tariffs that make no sense,
They make
that
no
you admitted
sense.
were confusing. And now you guys have to reverse engineer some sort of weird cognitive.
No, because look, you make this point about Europe. You're making the point about Switzerland, but let's talk about the European Union. You would say, well, this is crazy. These allies of ours, why are we smacking them with these insane tariffs? And why this doesn't make sense? We need to just put even more sanctions on Russia or whatever. But notice now, we have a great trade deal with the European Union. We're dealing with like a 15% tariff. We got $600 billion from them to invest in our country. So obviously it was just a way to negotiate. And it also happens to raise revenue and boost manufacturing.
minute. No,
but
no,
those
no,
are
no,
those
no,
are
no.
those are ancillary effects.
Okay, if you're negotiating to reshore manufacturing, then you can't be raising revenue off of tariffs because nobody's going to be importing
Yeah,
anything.
that's what you'd think. It actually takes a very delicate balance to be able to serve all
Oh
three
my
interests.
lord! So
but
Trump
he's
is
done
playing
it.
40
I mean,
chess right now with other
no,
countries.
it's just the numbers don't lie. Okay, next question.
For years, the U.S. has been screwed over by China, Europe, South America. This isn't just about short term. We need to be looking at long term. We need to be looking at 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Since NAFTA, we have been screwed over.
USA! You make a great point. You make a great point.
Now. Stop looking at the last 2, 3, 4, 5 months. We need to be looking at 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. These tariffs are setting a message that the U.S. will not be screwed over.
Amazing.
Yeah, I
Let
love
me
it.
ask
I
you
love
a
it.
question. We need to rebalance trade and stop China from ripping us off.
And Donald Trump is here to stand up for us.
Then let me
and
ask you,
say,
what
no.
deal has he cut with China?
So a conservative audience member comes up and tries to defend all of this by saying, Americans know what they're getting into as far as this. This is what they voted for. And that might sound reasonable until you think about it for half a second. Because Cecilia immediately hits him with the reality check. So you voted to have prices raised? And that's the question that matters. Did voters actually understand they were voting for higher grocery bills, higher costs on everyday goods? Because when you campaign on making America wealthy again, people don't think that means paying 38% more for vegetables. They think it means more money in their pockets, not less. But the strategy becomes obvious when you look at how these tariffs are being applied. Adam makes this point brilliantly. He said, we look batshit insane when we're tariffing Switzerland, who we had free trade with. Switzerland, a country we've had stable trade relations with for decades. We're putting tariffs on them while giving preferential treatment to other nations based on political relationships, not economic strategy. This isn't about rebalancing trade. This isn't about protecting American workers. This is about using economic policy as a weapon for political leverage. And American consumers are the ones caught in the crossfire. Then another audience member tries the long-term defense. He says this, we need to be looking at 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. These tariffs are setting a message that the US will not be screwed over. But here's the problem with that argument. You can't ask struggling families to accept higher prices today based on some vague promise of benefits in 20 years. That's not how people live. They have bills to pay this month. They have groceries to buy this week. And historically, when you look at major tariff policies, they don't deliver those long-term benefits anyway. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 was supposed to protect American industries during the Great Depression. Instead, it triggered retaliatory tariffs from other countries. International trade collapsed by over 60%, and it made the Depression worse. That's documented economic history. So when someone tells you, we just need to wait a decade to see if this works, remember that tariffs have failed this exact same way before. The only question is how much damage gets done before we learn the lesson again.
We are done.
What deal has he cut with China?
We don't necessarily.
This
need
isn't
to
about
balance
right
the
now.
trade.
What deal
This
has he
is
cut with
about
China?
setting the future. This is about setting us up for
No
5
answer.
years, 10
No.
years.
No
30
answer.
years
I'll give you
from
an
now.
answer.
What
on
deal
it.
has he
I'll
cut
give-
with China?
I'll give you an answer on it because you're saying, well, we need to balance trade. But that's what
No.
my
What?
thesis
My question is,
or no,
what
you're-
deal has he set with China? Because you are saying that he set a deal with China. He has
what
set
deal?
2 90-day delays. You
Yeah.
can't answer what a deal is. He can't answer what a deal is.
No,
Nobody can
I'm
answer
trying,
what the
I'm
deal
trying
is.
to answer it to you, even on the delays, which are obviously strategic. The point of setting the trade equilibrium as being the metric is because it's so crazy and kind of impossible in certain cases. Obviously, what's he going after in China? China's trade issues with us for 25 years have been illegally subsidizing steel, manipulating their currency,
IP.
stealing our IP, all of these things, right? Now, all of the previous presidents, since we stupidly let China into the World Trade Organization, all of them went at that directly. They got no results whatsoever. Trump comes in like a bull in a china shop, pun intended, and he does in the first term and he does in the second term, and he says, no, I'm going to pick this totally random metric, namely the trade deficits, and I'm going to start punching people around until we get better deals on all of the
Michael,
above.
I'm going to ask my question one more time.
Yes.
What deal did he get with China?
What specifically are you asking me?
I'm
What
asking
deal
you,
did he
what
get?
deal did this person just came up to the mic and said Trump took office and is going to hold China accountable?
But what did
All
he do?
Trump has done is pussyfooted and delayed 90 times, and you're sitting here stuttering
But
because you can't.
I don't get.
Okay, then answer the deal. What deal has he cut with China? No, shut up. What deal has he cut with China?
No, but I think.
No,
Adam,
listen, answer right now.
But Adam, we've been addressing your point because you're saying he didn't get a deal quickly enough. He didn't get a deal in 30 days. or
There's
60
no
days.
deal. What's his framework?
But you're saying I don't like.
You're
the delay.
looking at the
I'm trying to
short
answer
term.
you.
This
If
is
your
a
point- if your
long-term
point
play.
if your point is, Adam, well, Trump hasn't gotten this trade deal done within 30 or 60 or 90 days. I ask, where's Joe Biden's
It's been
trade
200
deal?
days.
Where's Barack Obama's great
Joe
trade deal?
Biden
Didn't
put
solve
targ-
any of the underlying problems with Chinese trade.
Joe Biden
Biden-
put targeted tariffs on China. He didn't put tariffs on the world like a retard. I'm sorry. He's not a retard.
Stop talking.
Donald Trump
It's very
is.
ableist
Stop
language.
talking.
I don't
care.
like that language.
Wokeness is
Ableist
dead.
language.
Wokeness is dead, Michael.
Woke is dead. That's true.
Okay, I'm
Trump
gonna
is a
say
retard.
something really
Yeah,
quick.
sassy.
I am totally
Yes.
here. I'm so here for doing more American manufacturing, more exporting. I totally agree with that. But you guys know that Trump has all his made in China, right? Okay, I just
No, he
want to
doesn't.
point out
That's
the hypocrisy
not true.
there.
That's a calumny. He makes his stuff in America. He actually does.
Okay.
He does. I have the hat. I got the hat in
Who has the hat
2016.
on?
It's
Who
made
the
in
fuck has
America.
the hat on right now?
It is. It is. It's great. There are a lot of knockoffs,
No.
though. That's another way China's stealing our IP. They're stealing our MAGA hat.
Can I point something out very quickly?
Yeah.
I got to have one topic tonight, and it was tariffs. I think I just ran around the room on tariffs because you couldn't name a deal. You couldn't
What are
name
you
a deal.
talking about?
And nobody could name anything that Trump has accomplished.
Hold on. Adam.
This moment right here is why this entire debate matters. Because Adam asks the simplest possible question. He said, but let me ask you, what deal has he cut with China? And you would think, after 7 months in office, after all the tough talk, after all the tariff threats and negotiations, someone could answer that question, right? Watch what happens. Michael completely falls apart. He stutters. What specifically are you asking me? That is not the response of someone who has a good answer. That's the response of someone who knows there is no answer. Because there isn't a deal. There's nothing. Just delays, just confusion, just political theater. And Adam doesn't let him off the hook. He calls it out directly. All he has done is pussyfooted and delayed 90 times, and you're sitting here stuttering because you can't answer. And that's the truth. Every time a deadline approaches, there's another extension, another 90-day pause, another promise that a deal is coming soon. But soon never comes. You know what that reminds me of? It's like someone who keeps saying they're going to start a business, they're going to launch their idea, they're going to make it big. But every time you ask them how it's going, they say they're still planning, still strategizing, still waiting for the right moment. Eventually, you realize they're never going to do it. They just like talking about doing it. That's what's happening here with China. There's no deal. There never was a deal. The entire strategy is just creating chaos and hoping something good happens by accident. And meanwhile, American families are paying higher prices, farmers are losing export markets, and businesses are struggling with uncertainty. By the end of this exchange, Adam delivers what might be the perfect summary. He said this, I think I just ran around the room on tariffs because you couldn't name a deal. You couldn't name a deal, and nobody could name anything that he has accomplished. And he's right. Nobody could answer the question. Not Michael, not the audience members, nobody. Because when your entire economic policy is built on tough-sounding rhetoric instead of actual results, eventually someone asks you to show your work. And when you can't, the whole thing falls apart. That's what we just watched happen. A complete exposure of failed policy dressed up as strength. And here's what makes this even more frustrating. The people defending these tariffs aren't the ones paying the price. They're not the families choosing between higher grocery bills and other necessities. They're not the small business owners watching their costs skyrocket. They're political commentators and wealthy elites who can absorb these increases without even noticing. The working class Americans who were promised this would help them, they're the ones getting crushed. And when they ask what they're getting in return, the answer is nothing but excuses and delays. That's not leadership. That's failure wrapped in a flag. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.